Thank you, Jess. That was an incredible effort, wasn't it, last night to get that car repaired? And Macaulay Jones is alongside me and some bleary eyes at your team last night, but thankfully that car's going to be out in the grid for qualifying later today.
Yeah, the boys did a fantastic job to get that thing going. It's had substantial damage from that crash, and it was, it was lucky that the chassis stayed straight and was being able to be repaired.
It's had a few big hits in the past few weeks there now too, and they can regroup, I guess, and get ready for the final round at Sydney Olympic Park in just a few weeks' time.
Yeah, that's for sure. It's been a big couple of months for the guys in that team, and hopefully we can have a clean one today and get through Homebush and see how the season break goes and try and rebuild some stuff.
Well, settle in. We've got 12 laps to wrap up the first round of this year's Porter Group NZ V8 Ute Series here at Pukekohe Park Raceway. Very clean racing so far. That's the kiss of death if ever you've heard it, but it's a combination of the points from the overall weekend. And we'll see Paul Manuel and Brett Rudd, who drove fantastic in yesterday's second race, on the front row of this one. Peter Ward and Matty Spratt on the second row. Jeff Spencer and Glenn Collinson on the next row as the cars take to the grid, and well behaved. And I get the feeling they're going to all square off in this final race here today. Beautiful day. There was a threat of weather, but looking outside right now, almost getting sunburned when we're dashing around in the paddock.
Yeah, it looks to be quite windy though today, which might play a bit of a part for slipstreaming down the straights. But I think they can hopefully have a clean run, and like yesterday, they managed some really great racing and some big passes going on.
So it's an all-Holden front row for the final race here. 13 cars. Richard Moore has repaired the 57 car. He's at the back of the field and brought out the safety car yesterday. Red lights on and red lights out, and we're away for the final time here.
Very good start by Manuel there. He managed to get a decent jump. Maybe not such a great second part of the start. Got a little bit too much wheel spin.
And finally, for the first time, the pole position has worked. And now Paul Manuel will lead us as he slides the Oryx Castrol Edge Holden through the first turn, and Rudd might drop back to third here.
Manuel put a lot of pressure on Rudd through that turn one and got out a little bit into the marbles, and it just let Manuel get some grip and be able to drive away.
That was James Urquhart, the Mitre 10 trade entry car number 10, who got up on the curb. There's some pretty messy gravel on the outside of that too, which will grab your attention if you get the wheels on the wrong side.
I think Spratt would be very happy with that start. He really needed to get to the front of the top two there and really try and hold on to Manuel as much as he can.
So two through turn 5, 6 and 7 for the first time on board with Glenn Collinson, the DNA Custom Paints entry, who's left the door wide open. Thankfully no one was there, but this is the corner we were just watching prior to this race, where they've thrown down a lot of dry stuff to dry up the oil from that last race, and looks like everybody's going to get through for the first time. Yeah,
Ward had a really big lunge down there. It's such a key critical place to be passing there, so really got to be on top of it, especially on this first lap.
So Rudd and Ward, the yellow and black Loscombe Power Supplies Yale Forklifts entry, second place, third place I should say, was spread up to second now, and he sets about the man who's defending his championship in the NZ V8 Utes, in Paul Manuel.
The top two have managed to get a little bit of a gap to third and fourth here, but I think Ward's going to have to be really smart, try to get past Rudd as much as he can to stop the top two getting away.
Richard Moore has made up a couple of positions at the back of the field too. That team thrashing to get that car fixed. And here he comes now, just another position, the gunmetal grey flex group number 57.
It's never an easy pass there.
Never.
Having around the outside.
And this was the opening stanza down here at turn 1.
Big bump there over the curb as well, which really can unsettle the rear of the car.
If you get it wrong, it can be big drama on the opposite side of the track. But Rudd on pretty, wouldn't say warm tyres, they'd be semi-cold still, hung tough on the outside in car number 99. Two hard charges here in the NZ V8 Utes as we go back to the Husqvarna hairpin down. And now we've got the Ward demolition entry of Peter Ward right on the back of the Scud, Brett Rudd. This is Collinson.
As well as Spratt being really close to Manuel, he might be looking to make a move pretty shortly. I think it'd be quite key for him to try and get to the front and just manage that gap if he can.
That's Nigel Hanley, the placemakers, 27 Holden, rounding Jaden Dodge, who didn't make the start in race number 1 on Friday, but finds himself inside the top 10 as we go back to the leaders, just getting a nice little margin now on third and fourth. And already it's lap number 3, so settling in nicely and carnage free.
As we've seen, Spratt just had the fastest lap of the race by a tenth and a half there, so he's definitely coming on strong. And I think we've seen Manuel being very strong in the opening laps as well, which has helped him.
So Manuel hits out to just on 0.3 of a second as they work their way up to the Century Batteries turn. Putting it down the middle of the road here. Impressed with Matt Spratt this weekend aboard the number 48 Holden. But Paul Manuel, loads and loads of experience. He's a former NZ Touring Car champion back in 2000, and now a two-time V8 Utes champ in New Zealand. They had a 3-round series in the winter time before they start their summer series.
A bit more here, looking on the back of Collinson there, and he's really trying to have to make a move as soon as he can. He's got a few cars in front of him that he needs to get by to be able to get, you know, a good result in this last race.
Including Jaden Dodge, who's on the back of Handley here, just giving the 27 placemakers hold a bit of a touch-up on the exit of the Husqvarna hairpin and more. This will be a great reward for the team because there's a lot of damage to that car yesterday. Yeah,
you can still see a few panels are a bit dented there with some paint being traded, but they've done a fantastic job to get that car ready.
That's fairly standard, paint being traded.
Yeah, definitely a little bit standard in some utes.
And all the mirrors are intact so far.
So far.
Lap number 4. They head down to this really fast, and if you don't get it right, it can be disastrous on occasion through turn 2 and 3. Important to get the run out of here nicely. If you can get it like Richard Moore did then, it'll set you up nicely for turn 5. Another passing opportunity since the modifications of this course were completed back in the 2013 return here to Pukekohe Park.
It's a tough track here. You've really got to use some of the curves in your favour, but not use them too much where it unsettles the car.
Well, the tyres locking up on the run down into turn number 5. So Manuel and Spratt have now got 3 seconds on run. We jump on board with Glenn Collinson here. Brand new livery for this team. Oh, bit of a wrong shift on the way out.
Yeah, a little bit tough to get the gear there. Gives Moore a good opportunity. You'll have to set this pass up though, try and get a really strong run out of the hairpin and get through these last sectors strong to possibly get a run down the straight.
It's his 4th season in the NZ V8 Utes. He was 3rd in the 3-round sprint series. And it's the only FG Falcon in the championship. Good people from Better Auto Parts have stayed on board with this team as he just gets it on the outside of the bitumen. And we've seen so many cars through practice qualifying in the races across all our categories.
Moore's managed to get down the inside. It's a good move by him, really strong, and just managed to get it nearly done by the corner actually. Just got to keep the flow going and try and stay, you know, level-headed and just push forward. As Paul Manuel's getting a little bit of a gap of 6/10 here. He did the fastest lap of the race 2 laps ago, and it's, you know, just managed to give him a slight breathing area.
Brett Rudd, who picked up the race win yesterday, runs back in 3rd, but is now losing touch with the leading pair as we stay on board with Collinson here. Collinson running back in 9th position and 13 seconds off the lead group already. After Richard Moore just got the pass done at the first turn, approaching the half-race distance of the final race here today, the Porter Group NZ V8 Utes.
As Dodge is really on the back of Ergwin there, Handley, really trying to hound him and just look for a way by.
So Handley and the placemakers Holden, 54-year-old from Auckland. Very well presented Holden here, but he's about to feel the pressure from a young charger in the series, the Stadium Finance Falcon, pushing him down the main straight here at the half-race distance mark.
The gap is slightly closing in the lead there as well.
This will be good for Spratt. We'll go back to them soon because this group of cars is really starting to get hot, isn't it?
Dodge there. A lot of curve. That can always play a part. That can possibly bend the front end as well.
He had a couple of spins yesterday, one down there and then one down at the turn 5-6 region.
Yeah, the car looked like it was a bit of a handful in race 2 there yesterday. He's just struggling a little bit with grip.
Particularly with that second spin anyway. As now Richard Moore from a long way back should be able to get it done. He locks the rears and stays with him. Eats a lot of the curb, but Dodge is going to make him work for it.
Yeah, I thought he was going to try and hang around the outside there, but he definitely yielded, which is probably the smart thing to do for now. He'll have another opportunity to pass, but it was a big lunge.
Starting to talk about tyres late in the race here. Who's got the best of their remaining tyres out there at the moment? You'd have to give it to the guys at the front. Paul Manuel, whose weekend started badly when he put the #1 Oryx car into the fence in Friday morning practice. The team repaired it for qualifying. It wasn't perfect, but was still good enough to get pole.
Yeah, they've bounced back really well from that and just managed to get pole in qualifying, and race 1 was a win. So he's definitely been strong throughout the whole weekend and just pulling away a little bit again from Spratt.
Second half of the race is well and truly alive now. You're watching the battle for 7th, 8th, 9th and 10th.
Bit of a bit of a lock-up on the front there from Moore.
Just starting to push a bit hard now. Got through the first few cars pretty easily, but now it's sort of plateaued a bit. We're back on board with Collinson.
Tends to plateau a little bit at this point of the race with the tyres starting to go away quite a bit. I think I've seen a few of these guys lose the rear on the exits of corners, getting wheel spin and locking brakes.
He's trying again. This time it's wide enough. He moves across, he'll shut the door. This time he's got it right.
It's a good move. Again, it was very late, but he managed to pull it up this time and pull the pass off really well.
More the fact too that Dodge ran wide. He locked up this time, and now he'll have to do the chasing on the flex group number 57. And now Collinson lining up for a piece of the action. The DNA custom paints entry. We're back on board with him now as he chases Jaden Dodge in the Stadium Finance Falcon.
Very vibrant looking car, that one too.
It's cool.
Stands out definitely.
So is this one too. I think that flat colours, flat black or flat grey, they all seem to work.
Yeah, it looks quite tough.
Through they come, lap 8 of 12. The gap is 1.2 seconds at the front. It's 4 seconds now back to Brett Rudd. And these guys a further 12 seconds away. Further back in the field with Kernahan and Usher, who started from pole position in the reverse top 10 race yesterday.
Quite wide there a little bit at turn 1. It's going to make it quite difficult to get there when you're driving through all the marbles. He's definitely trying to set up a pass here.
Kernahan having timing issues with that car earlier in the weekend, and Usher, who's in his second season now of the V8 Utes, the 45-year-old who lives in Pukekohe, former speedway racer, raced saloon cars over here for many years. Doing a great job in the NZ-V8 Utes. Back on board with Manuel. It's clear track ahead for him. But a margin of 1.2 seconds, probably the biggest we've seen in all the 2 races prior.
Yeah, he's managed to get quite a good gap, and he's just keeping it nice and smooth and just putting lap after lap.
Going for a full lap on board.
There's turn 1 down here, very bumpy like we have talked about before, and getting very close tight to the curb there, as well as hitting quite a lot of curb there. It's really key to be able to set up for turn 3 and 4.
A career that's spanned the better part of 20 years now. Various championship wins. He won the Summer Series last year, wrapped up the 3-round Sprint Series champ. And today is his 250th race of his motorsport career. Oh.
Ooh, rear locking down there. It's making it tougher to make the corner. It's definitely sliding in the rear quite a bit. Still managing it though. He's still got some good times going.
Can you feel that when you feel the brakes lock?
Oh yeah, you can definitely feel it. It gets your attention quite fast.
Never get too complacent.
When you turn in the wrong way to the corner, it's never a good feeling.
So you'd be great in speedway, I think.
Oh, definitely.
That's a full lap of this very fast Pukekohe Park Raceway. As Manuel, the gap has come down with that little lock-up. He's lost half a second on this lap alone.
He has quite a wide entry to the last corner there to really try and get to the throttle early and just get a really strong run down the straight. And we've seen that work for him to be able to pass at the end of the straight as well.
Back to this group, they're still trading positions here. Richard Moore, who started from near back of the field, he started from 12th, is now running in 8th position. That's Hanley in the 27 placemakers Holden and Glenn Collinson. So we're inside the final 3 laps of the Porter Group NZ-V8 Utes, their season opener of the Summer Series here in New Zealand.
Moore's managed to get a little bit of a gap there as we see how Dodgers had to go on Hanley here, and it's, you know, lost them a little bit of a little time to them.
We saw Elton Goonan do that too, and now Manuel, he's gone off the track. He's gone off the track here in a critical point of the race.
I'm not sure what happened there, whether Spratt had a bit of a pass on him down there and if they made a bit of contact, it's hard to know. As we see the replays, Manuel's definitely making it tight for him down into there, but definitely had a lock up and just had a bit of a nudge and sent him wide.
I don't think they even touched. That's how close it was. This might be a bit more telling. There was contact there in the driver's side door, but it was enough to send the Oryx Castrol Edge Holden off.
Wasn't a big contact, so I don't think we'll see any damage, luckily, but it's definitely enough to put him off the track, so hopefully they can rejoin and have another battle.
This is looking back from Manuel's car as the last minute Matt Spratt dived down the inside. Manuel gets a little knock. Got him right in the door too, so it won't be any more damage apart from a little bit of cosmetic damage as he puts #1 car back on the circuit.
He's got a little bit of a gap from that as well, so that's you know, helped him a little bit. But hopefully we can see Spratt try and get a bit closer and maybe have another lunge. We've seen Manuel make it tight for him down there into the chicane there throughout the race.
It's taking him enough time for him, though. The gap's out to nearly 2 seconds.
Yeah, with 2 laps to go, it's going to be hard. He's going to be wanting Manuel to make a bit of a mistake.
Set the fastest lap on lap 3 of 1:16.03. Matt Spratt's fastest lap coming just on lap 5 then. Jaden Dodge now getting his personal best fastest lap of the race, 1:18.09 on the previous lap.
The 16.0 is a very fast lap. I think that is faster than the qualifying lap.
Around the mark, yeah. So the tyres have held on nicely.
Surprisingly, because mostly when you're putting brand new tyres on, they're at their best in the opening laps of that. So these tyres have managed to hold on really well for Manuel.
And we saw that in qualifying, wasn't it? The first 4 or 5 minutes is where we saw the time set.
Yeah, and then they generally just came into the pits, let them sit down, see if they need to, you know, wait out their time and really conserve the tyres.
So last lap on board with Manuel after having that collision, slight collision down at turn 5, is setting sail for home. Looks likely to pick up round win honours in the first round of this year's championship.
I think he'll be playing it safe a little bit on these last laps just to make sure he keeps it nice and straight and really drive it nice and cleanly. Just keep it on the track.
Exactly. Down to turn 5. It's backside the circuit, a bit overcast now. It's, like you said before, there's a fair bit of wind around the circuit at the moment. Clouds just coming and going as the day goes on.
Might play a bit of a part for the V8 Supercar qualifying coming up.
That's following this race with just 3 turns remaining. And Manuel, it's out to 2.6 seconds now. They are 6 seconds clear of Brett Rudd in the Loscombe Pallet Supplies number 99 Holden. But this guy, he hampered himself in practice on Friday morning. He turned it around to put the car on pole position. They repaired it overnight, and now Paul Manuel starts off the defence of his 2016 championship in fine style. His 250th career race picks up the win in the NZ V8 Youth Series.
It's a fantastic drive by him. He really kept it smart, and all weekend really he bounced back from that tough practice 1 and 2 race wins out of 3. It's not a bad weekend.
Fantastic job. That'll be enough to collect the round win. Matt Spratt fell away to 3 seconds in the end, but a big bag of points for his championship start. But Paul Manuel, the former NZ Touring Car champion, collects the win on a very special weekend. 3 seconds clear of Matt Spratt. Brett Rudd was 3rd. Peter Ward was in 4th, but a lonely old race for the Ward demolition entry. Richard Moore got himself up to 7th from near back of the field. Elton Goonan was 11th, down to Simon Usher in 13th spot.